All right, we are live. Welcome to the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. This is a live discussion, so if you just happen to click on this video because you're looking for, I don't know, another kind of video, you're in the wrong place. We are going to be discussing today kind of some things this week or recently in the bushcraft market, things that have happened. And I'm going to give you an update on my reactive camo and how I'm going to do it differently next time. Talk about the most recent trip I had out with the AR and about some other stuff that we have planned and whatever my subscribers want to see, or I should say viewers. So if that's what you're into, definitely stick around. Now, I'm fussing with this laptop here so that I can see my comments as they happen. It never seems to quite work correctly. Here we go. All right. All right, and I might end up eating dinner at the same time because time got away from us today. We had 4 chicks born like yesterday or the day before, and I've got to bring them all inside, so I had to make them a whole cage setup and everything, so the time just disappeared from me. We will wait for a couple of people to get on here, but while we're doing that, let me give you an update on my Gadsden Dynamics War Belt. I've been doing my series, A Call to Patriots, hoping to motivate people who have been on the edge about buying an AR or a fighting rifle, but didn't know where to start, didn't know how much money they had to spend, maybe were a little bit intimidated by the whole thing. It is the time to buy, and I would be happy to help you do it. All right, so Old Iron asks, what's the capacity of the AR7 and can you get high cap mags for it? I was actually going to grab that and talk about it and I forgot it, so too late for that. The mags are 8 rounds each. As far as I know, there is no current aftermarket for it whatsoever. I believe Armalite made an extended 15-round mag, and it's hard to find, and I don't think that the old Armalite mags are as good of quality as the new Henry mags. So it's kind of a bummer. You're kind of stuck with Henry 8-round mags, and they are $20 a piece. You have to buy $40 packs in packs of 2. Rick, good to have you. Real quick, so I'm going to mention my Gadsden Dynamics War Belt here, because if you are a Patriot on a budget or just getting started, you need your rifle, you need ammo, you need mags. You need to go to training, but before you go to training, you probably need something to hold your mags in. And there are a lot of options out there that are really, really expensive. Later in this video, I'm going to talk about a few different options that you have with mag pouches in particular, but for right now, I'm going to talk about the War Belt. The War Belt is a good option, I believe, for Patriots because it's very affordable, it's very comfortable, it's very versatile. You can wear this under a plate carrier, or I should say below a plate carrier with a bunch of other gear. You can put an H harness on it, so it has harnesses that go over your shoulder. This from Gadsden Dynamics, small shop here, makes this War Belt here in America, in Ohio, and the prices start at $50. So if you're on a budget, that's incredible. And so also if you're on a budget, you can get these old Milsurp mag pouches for your AR-15 mags for like $2 to $3 each. There are some upsides and downsides to this style of mag pouch, but it's a great way to get started, buying some old mil-spec, Milsurp stuff, and setting up a War Belt. Old Iron asked, what was it? I already forgot. Something about the AR-7. Oh, what ammo have I tried in it? So I have only shot Remington Golden bullets through it so far. Accuracy has been great, but I have not put any target ammo through it. Most target ammo is standard velocity, and it's not meant for standard velocity. I'll have to check. I'm sure I have some high velocity target ammo, if that is a thing. And I'll definitely be trying that out, especially when I get a scope for it and I get really serious about accuracy testing. So, hey Josh, good to have you. Josh Wolf of Redbeard Blades. So everybody go to your little Instagram if you have one, and definitely check out Redbeard Blades. They're also on Facebook. Combat veteran, sniper, all around good dude, makes some really, really cool knives. So Josh, not much. We're going to talk about some gun stuff today. We're going to talk about some knife stuff today, and we're going to talk a little bit about some recent stuff in the bushcraft industry. First off, I think I'm about 2 weeks late, but Essie released a new knife, the Ashley Game Knife. I got to play with it a little bit at Blade Show. Really comfortable knife. They skipped on the sharpening choil because it can get caught up when you're skinning or slicing through something. Really, it's got a nice guard on it that is not going to let your fingers slip forward towards the blade, covered in blood or whatever else. All around a great, kind of a mini Nessmuck shape, I'd say. Really excited about that. Already pictures all over the internet of game that is skinned out with it. Phenomenal new product from Essie, and I said it I think 2 years ago. There was 2 companies that were going to kind of dominate the American bushcraft market, and one was Essie. The other one was Council Tool, and they just released a new bushcraft hatchet, the Flying Fox, and it's going to have a hardened pull. It's a hatchet, I believe a 2 3/4 pound head. It could be 3 1/4 off. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, or I don't remember, I should say, but it's got a hardened pull. It is a very nice hatchet. It's in their sport utility line, which is above their bottom line, but below their premium line. But it's going to come in at or under $50 for an American-made little hatchet with a hardened pull. So that is the kind of stuff that in 20 or 50 years, people are going to be looking for on the used market, like collecting. I mean, it's really cool, and it does fall within specifications for the throwing hatchet competition rules, which is incredible. JD Grayman, great to have you. That's another person guys need to check out on Instagram and on YouTube, JD Grayman. Says he's just here for the facial hair. Man, I'm working hard on it. Got a little bit of like goat scruff crap going on. It's not really good, but I'm sure by next summer I'll have something worth having before I shave it off. So we will see. Yeah, next summer maybe it'll be another ½ an inch longer, and maybe a little thicker. Some thickness of facial hair would be nice. So my pleasure, bud. So that's kind of what we got going on the bushcraft market. And like I said, Essie and Council Tool is going to be the standby. I mean, they are pushing so much incredible quality stuff and excellent priced stuff onto the market for bushcraft. I don't see any other company competing, not even coming close, bushcraft or survival. And the Council Flying Fox hatchet with a hardened pull coming in at or under $50, I think it's going to demolish the whole Swedish budget hatchet realm. The Hultafors and the Husqvarna, they're not going to be able to compete at all, not even close. So I just hope that Council Tool can keep up with demand, because I think they're going to be hot. All right, guys, I did a video not too long ago on spray painting my gun, camouflage. I called it reactive camouflage. It kind of worked. It kind of didn't. I have an idea of how I'm going to make it better, but I want to show you what we have so far. I went shooting with my buddy Noah from Bushcraft to Survive yesterday. And I only put another 120 rounds through this, so this is still a low round count gun. It's only shot steel cases, but I have not had any problems with it yet. Very happy with the SIG Romeo 5 red dot so far. No issues. He has a very similar build on a Tennessee Arms Company polymer lower like mine. He has 1,000 rounds, just over 1,000 rounds through his now, and he's never cleaned the bolt carrier group or bolt. So, and he hasn't had any malfunctions. So he's running a Brownells upper, which appeared to me to have the exact same bolt carrier group and bolt. So that's exciting stuff, man. Just being able to pick up a $400 AR and run it is mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. But I will not fully endorse any of this until it's been through training. So what I will say is, if you are the person that I'm talking to in a call to Patriots, you only have a couple bucks. If this is all you can spend, about $400 you can get shooting. But until I prove that they can run, and the Tennessee Arms lower also, until I can prove that they all run, last, and are good to go, I'm going to say go with production. DPMS, Wyndham Weaponry, Smith & Wesson, stuff like that. On that topic, no longer Colt with the old LE 6920, because Colt is going to stop selling guns on the commercial market. I'll talk about that later if you guys want. But an update on the camouflage itself up close. In this lighting, you're not going to see it too well. This is what I want, but this is not from the paint. This is coyote tan polymer furniture underneath the green. That is a good look. Also on the receiver, you can see it is starting to wear a bit, and I like it. But wear on the actual upper receiver, which was black. Oh, Joshua Wolf mentioned BCM is good as well. If you can afford the BCM, go with BCM. Don't do Daniel Defense because they're commies. Go with BCM. You know, if you have the money to get something a little bit nicer, definitely go that route and know that you have a solid machine. For a good price. More expensive than what I'm talking about, but still a good price. But I really aim all of this content to the absolute lowest budget, because that's what most of the people out there are. And people that don't have ARs have been scared to get one. That's probably wise, because they're afraid to put down the money on it. And so I want to find the absolute cheapest stuff possible. Chuck Jones, you know, it might take some time, but it's just all about, it's all right with the caps. It's all about prioritizing. So this total minus the red dot's about $400. Also through Brownells and other sites, you can get 500 rounds of ammo for under $100 shipped. Wolf, military classic ammo, 223 steel cased. What people consider to be junk, but it puts bullets down the barrel and down range. And that's what's up. Also through Classic Arms, Classic Firearms, they have sales fairly often. I just bought 10 Magpul PMags for like $10 each. This is actually a Lancer. But don't buy cheap mags. I just had a bad experience with some cheap mags. I'll get to that in just a moment. Rick asked, what's my opinion of the Springfield Armory Saint? I am completely biased against Springfield Armory, and so what I will say is that I am sure it's a decent gun. When I shot their demo guns at SHOT Show, they seemed a little bit sluggish. I think it has a mid or even a rifle length gas system, and when it got dirty, it was running. But man, that bolt carrier group came back slow, ka-clunk. Went forward slow, ka-clunk. And that doesn't fill me with confidence. Although I do prefer a mid-length gas system to carbine for an everyday nice shooter. If I'm going to go for a budget shooter, I think carbine length is the way to go. You get higher pressure. The further down the barrel you go, the less heat and the less pressure you get. At a carbine length, you have a lot of pressure, a lot of hot gas. It's hotter. You've got harder recoil impulse. but it's also to some degree potentially more reliable and more foolproof. So the Springfield Armory Saint, I'm sure it's okay, but I would never suggest someone to buy from them because they're dirty commies. Oh my, wifey just brought me some chow. Let's see, I was going to talk about magazines. And James Pablos, I will get to Beto O'Rourke in a moment. But magazines, I tried, my good friend that I was shooting with had some Mission First Tactical magazines. And he said he bought them because they were $1 less each. And they were the worst excuse for a magazine I have ever seen. They've never had, they've never been abused. They've never been through a class. They've never been really dirty. They only have like 100 rounds each through them. And yet the feed lips were so soft I could push them in with my fingers. And if you just touched them down or moved them, they blow rounds out. The feed lips were incredibly flimsy and they were terrible. And so, you know, it's easy for me to tell you guys what not to buy. It's harder for me to tell you guys what to buy because I don't want to be responsible for telling you guys to buy the right stuff, which is why I won't just tell you to go out and buy one of these ARs before I test it thoroughly. But what I will say is, if you want to buy good mags that are also affordable, just buy Lancer L5 mags or Magpul P mags. And if Magpul mags are a little bit cheaper, just buy Magpuls if you need to, guys. You can find them cheap, but I don't care if another mag is $1 or $2 cheaper. In the long run, it's not going to be worth it because some of these other mag brands, I think, are probably acceptable, but it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So, one of the things that I will suggest that you do spend your money on, Lancer mags or Magpul mags. I've heard good things about OK Industries. I haven't tested them yet. When I do test them, things may change. As of right now, I give my endorsement to Magpul and Lancer. Not that they give a crap about me or this channel. So, yeah. Joshua Wolf said, I'm not sure, but I think it has an adjustable gas block. So the Springfield Armory Saint, he might have an adjustable gas block. Adjustable gas blocks are really cool. I do think that it requires a higher degree of shooter understanding. So there are some things that are acceptable for an advanced shooter, someone who's familiar with the platform. They can work through some things, but some people just don't know, and that's fine. And some people are legitimately dumber than a box of rocks. And people that fall under either of those categories, at least at first, that might not be a good option for them. I think it's something that I'm interested in, but I think just running carbine length gas straight up might be the way to go for the beginning shooter or the new Patriot. So yeah. So now on my personal do not buy list, what do we got? We got Daniel Defense. Screw those guys. The owner, I guess, is a freaking flaming communist. Springfield Armory. Screw them. Colt. Screw them. Who else is there? I have no attraction to H&K. I put them on the do not buy list. I don't really need to, but like if you're in this budget category or a new shooter, there's no reason to even look at H&K. And I've had a little bit of experience with their AR. Not the 416. Is that their 5.56 or is that their 7.62? I'm sure someone will let me know here in a second. But essentially, they took an AR-15. They added an extra safety inside the bolt carrier group, made it all extra complicated for absolutely no reason, and made it really heavy, and made it really expensive. No, no, I'll pass. Just like everything else that they do, I think it's stupid. So let's see. Upcoming reviews. Work Tough, the Elbrus, is in D2. I'm going to review it with a standard edge, and then we're going to get it thinned out, likely by Fontaine Sharpening Services. And then once we have a thinner edge, one that I would typically like, Josh? Who's playing opposite day? I'm not. I'm a little bit behind. Once we get that a little bit thinner, we'll see if their D2 can hold up to general use, what some people would consider light abuse. Let's see. The Brisa LTD, or as it used to be known, Enzo Trapper, that's going to be getting used a lot more in the near future. And SE Laser Strike. And let's see what else. I'm not sure. One thing I want to mention, I'm going to be working with Diamondback Country Knives. Let me make sure that I'm not screwed up, because I can know something for a fact. Oh, yeah. The H&K, opposite of what people want. Absolutely. Anyways, yeah, Diamondback Country Knives. I can know something for a fact and then go live and completely forget. Oh yeah, Rick mentions very soon the American versus Chinese buck stockman. I might actually be able to do that this weekend. I've been carrying both knives. So far, I've really seen no difference in edge retention or sharpening. So I'm going to try to do a somewhat controlled cardboard test. Or maybe I'm not. I don't know. It might be a waste of my time to try and really check edge retention. I don't know. But really, with the buck stockman between American and Chinese made, it hurts me to say it. I don't want to say it, but I don't see any large quality gap in any way between the two, and both of them have been used quite a bit. So I'll be doing a video on that very soon. But Diamondback Country Knives is another knife manufacturer that I'd like everybody to go check out on Instagram and on Facebook. Diamondback Country Knives. So it's owned by Bobby, and I met him at Blade Show, and Joshua and I really liked his work. I really like his style. Nice thin edges, just custom knives. I think with custom makers, you have some people going for the lowest price point that they can possibly hit to get as many knives into people's hands as possible, and they try and crank out knives, and they're okay with some issues. Then you have custom makers who are kind of middle of the road. They want people to have something a little bit nicer. They want it to be as cheap as they can make it, but they know that they have to charge more to give a higher quality knife. And you have people at the top of the road that want to make the best knife they possibly can, and you're going to have to pay for it if you want it, because they know the value of their work and they put a lot of work into it. And I'd put Bobby at a higher level there. He does make affordable knives like his aunt and stuff, affordable, for the everyday guy. He does have different levels of material fanciness, but man, he does some really beautiful work. The guy has a lot of attention to detail. He has a hard time with handle materials, because whenever he buys handle materials, both sides on the knife have to be exactly the same. So he'll buy handle material, and a large amount of it can go to waste if it's not exactly what he's looking for. And so that kind of attention to detail, it can't be cheap. But if you like looking at beautiful knives, definitely check him out on Instagram and on Facebook. Beto O'Rourke, he's said some things. He's kind of social media famous right now. And we're about to get wild here with talking about him because, believe it or not, he's mostly right. He said he's been talking about gun control for a long time. Recently, he said, hell yes, we're coming for your AR-15 and AK-47. Not long ago, he said that we're not going to have to come for your AR-15 and your AK-47. You're going to give them to us. And he's right. When somehow the American people have been led to believe that the FFL and gun shop system and registration is constitutional, and which it is, it's not even a loophole in the Constitution, it's completely unconstitutional, and then they've been led to believe that private sales are a loophole. The reality is, everybody who buys a new gun, myself included, has allowed themselves illegally to be put through a registration system. And when through Trump's bump stock ban or any of these red flag laws or anything else that's happening, when the option is turn your stuff in or we're going to freeze your bank accounts, turn off your power and water, and turn your children into child protective services, and when the people support that, which they will because you'll be painted as an extremist, what are you going to do? You ain't going to go out shooting. You know, how many people here can live with most people in today's day and age, who's going to choose to live without air conditioning? Who's going to choose to live without heat? Who has a wood-burning stove set up? Yeah, Chuck Jones says, you can beat this, become a well-regulated militia. It is in the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, you're right, defends our right to create a private army. And because the right to have a private army is necessary for a nation to remain free, of course, the government can make no laws regarding firearms ownership. Every gun law is an infringement. Gun laws based on felonies are an infringement. Gun laws based on substance abuse are an infringement. The only time in the Constitution it says that you can go in front of a jury of your peers, and if you are convicted to be guilty, you can be stripped of your rights. That's what's called going to jail. When you get out of jail and you are put back into society, you've been deemed fit to be in society. A God-given and inalienable right? I don't understand. I got in a discussion not too long ago with someone was like, well, you know, sometimes they are alienable rights. What do you think the founding fathers were just using flourish in their vocabulary and just using words that didn't matter, and they hadn't really thought about what was in the Bill of Rights? They just kind of put it in there as, you know, whatever. Let's throw some stuff in there. No, they thought about it for quite a while, and they picked their words very specifically, and they had just removed themselves from under a tyrannical government by killing them. And they knew that governments are self-sustaining, self-motivated, self-centered, and that they will do what it takes to gain power despite the people, over the people, and that if the people didn't have the not only right but also the backbone to, if need be, destroy them, then the freedom would be eroded. So adult-aged males in the states are de facto militia by definition, regardless if they wish to participate or not. The militia only requires organization. More importantly than that, the government cannot come in and say, you guys cannot be gathering together and planning on killing us. No, that's actually that group of people's rights. Now that today would be called a domestic terrorist. And everybody's terrified of that. And the way that the media is working wants you to be afraid of your neighbor, wants you to be afraid of people that they deem to be mentally deficient, who they've probably created to be mentally deficient, or they've created everything. They want you to be afraid of veterans, and they want you to be afraid of terrorists, specifically domestic terrorists. Look at the narrative. And the reality is that's your right as a U.S. citizen, and it is a God-given and inalienable right. So, read about what happened in Nazi Germany and Austria. They gave up their rights to guns without knowing it, and before it was too late, Nazis took over. That's how it works. Jeff Luca, good to have you, bud. So, my goal with A Call to Patriots and why I've been doing so many gun videos, watch Kitty Worthman's speech, tells of it. I will do that. I want your average, everyday person who does not own an AR-15, because most people do not own AR-15s, to finally pull the trigger. If someone's going to ask about safety, as always, full mag, round in the chamber, because an unloaded gun is a dangerous gun. So, okay. The other thing, my priorities have changed a little bit, because I will not, and you will likely not be able to either, convince everybody that should have an AR-15 to get an AR-15. So I have always said buy once, cry once. Another reason why I'm training through all of this and trying to find out the best bang for the buck is because my priorities have changed from having one really good rifle to, hey, good to have you, Yakima, Washington. Old Iron, didn't we hunt in Yakima? Up on Mount Edward when I got lost as a little tyke. I think that's where that was, up in Yakima. November. Joshua Wolf, pulling that trigger finally in November. I'm not 100% sure what you mean, bud. Okay. But instead of paying for one really good rifle, you might want to consider getting the most affordable rifle that is reliable, that you trust. Oh, Josh, you don't have an AR. Well, if you have any questions, man, definitely hit me up. I know you probably know what's what, but maybe you don't know something specific when it comes to stuffs. So let me know if you need anything. Jack, good to have you, man. So you might want to consider, instead of one $3,000 AR, or instead of one $1,500 AR and $1,000 of optics and setup, you might want to consider 4 or 5 $400 ARs and a butt ton of mags, because mags are about to skyrocket. Everybody's preparing to ban the piss out of them again. And right now you can get this mag for 13 bucks. And I just bought, like I said, those other P mags for $10. They will soon be $30, $50, $100. I guarantee it. Buy them now while you can, whether as an investment or for yourself. Crap load of mags, crap load of ammo. Again, Wolf 223 is under $100 shipped right now for 500 rounds. That's why it's going to be hard for me to do a lot of training with 308, because I can afford to shoot this stuff. 308 hurts to shoot. And try and get some training, guys, and get an affordable kit. But yeah, I like Josh, I am looking for the cheapest AR that I trust. Now, I'm not going to say this is it yet. But one thing that JD said was that Beto O'Rourke is inspirational, as in inspiring him to build more ARs from PSA. I don't like PSA. I hate PSA for a lot of the things that they did, especially at their 308 AR rollout, which is still an absolute disaster. But but there are other places out there, and they do have a lot of stuff. Also, tactical response, as a general, in general, I've heard Jaeger say that they've seen a lot of issues through PSA and stuff. So I don't trust them. Chuck said there's got to be a way to get this stuff before they ban them. There is, man. You just gotta freaking Classic Firearms, Brownells.com. If you can buy anything, yeah. Palmetto does have good prices. Primary Arms, Brownells, Midway USA. You got to price search a little bit. And Palmetto does have good deals. And Classic Firearms sometimes will have good deals on stuff. They're selling 20-round boxes of Wolf military classic ammo for like just over $3 a box. They still have shipping. Brownells has free shipping though, so it kind of adds up. If you can buy anything from Brownells, usually they have the best prices, not always, but even if they're a little bit more expensive and you can buy from Brownells, do buy from Brownells. RA Camp. So yeah, Brownells.com, and they have coupon codes where you can get 10, 20, or 30% off plus free shipping, and or 10, 15, or 20, I should say, plus free shipping. And Brownells.com basically has a lifetime warranty on anything that they sell from any manufacturer that they sell from. You don't even have to talk to the manufacturer if something goes wrong. You can contact Brownells and they will hook you up for life on anything. It's incredible. So if you can buy it from Brownells, do. They're good folks. Joshua said, I can't see the ban happening. Even in Cali, their ban is headed towards the Supreme Court, and hopefully it'll be overturned there. I hope that you're right. But we already had a gun ban in 1994. And we will have another one. So it's just a matter of time. If it's not within Trump's first term, it will be in Trump's second term. It's going to come. So all they got to do is put more commies into the Supreme Court, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You're good to go. We all fought Midwest Industries. Jackson Missile Industry is pretty solid, and they make Tactical Response Edition. They run mid $1,500, give or take. Yes. Midwest Industries is awesome. I have a long, long relationship with Midwest Industries going back to my deployment. So I said I have a harder time recommending that you buy something than I do telling you not to buy something. Anything from Midwest Industries is gonna be awesome. So it started with actually a 1-point sling plate for me from them in Afghanistan. Way better than anything else anybody else offered. Let's see, and they have a bare bones GI rifle like this that I think is a little bit more affordable than $1,500. But anything that you buy from there is just downright going to be great, and they stand behind their stuff. A few days ago, or actually it was a few months ago, I watched it unfold. Federal Ammunition had a round, one of their cases fail. They screwed up one of their rounds, blew up a dude's Midwest Industry rifle. Then they made excuses because they didn't want to stand behind their product and said things that are not even possible. They said that the chamber was unsupported when the round went off. Bull crap. Absolute bull crap. Screw Federal. I might still buy their ammo, but doggone it, that sucks. But Midwest totally stood behind it and hooked the dude up. So they are certainly good to go. Yeah, and they say, in case you don't know, we supply ammo to the military. So, we make the best stuff. It couldn't be about us. Douchebags. Chuck asked, can I recommend a good AR-15 lower for less than $100? Easy, man. Anything aluminum. Anderson Arms, PSA. Who else is cheap? Aero Precision is great. I think that Aero Precision on quality in general is probably a step above Anderson. But if you can get an aluminum lower, it's probably good to go, man. At one point, I bought a Spikes Tactical Zombie lower for under 40 shipped. So sometimes you just got to search. If it's aluminum and it's forged, it's probably good to go, man. Just find the cheapest one you can. Also, Aero Precision is from my hometown of Tacoma, Washington, which is cool. Well, RA Camp says Washington state law is now 10 mandatory days to wait for anything semi-auto. Just wait 27 days for 2 AR stripped lowers. Dude, if the conservatives could just have one state and we could take back Washington, that'd be great. Like, I would love to go back to Washington. Just can't. I can't deal with it. I can't put up with it. Just communists, man. The whole West Coast, just a bunch of freaking communists. But at the end of the day, they became communists because conservative people were afraid to voice their opinions. Caitlin Bennett is someone that I look up to because she recently got into it with Dan Crenshaw, and Dan Crenshaw was talking down to her and telling her how she's never going to be anybody and she wasn't going to change anybody's opinions and this, and that, and the other. And I was so impressed with her response of saying she wasn't looking to change anybody's mind. She was looking to encourage people who felt the same to speak up. Because I know people in Washington State who said these laws will never pass, this isn't going to happen, that's not going to happen, I'm not worried about it. They sat around, they were lazy, they did not use their liberty teeth, and now they're in a pit and they continue to accept it because they've been accepting it for so long. And they make excuses for it. And I always hear that can't happen here, that can't happen here, that can't happen here. Well, guess what? It's gonna happen here. The crap in California, even here in Kentucky, it'll be here in 10 years. It might take 15 years, but it'll be here. And you know, the enemy, the statists, the people who are pushing and supporting slavery for their own benefit, know how to make it happen. They know how to vocalize what they want, how to get what they want, and how to ensure that conservatives keep their mouths shut. And John Farnham said, once you've voted in socialism, you have to fight your way out. Well, definitively, essentially, America was socialist in 1989 when hospitals lost the right to refuse service based on the ability to pay. And Rick said eventually the cities will run every state they're in. That's the plan. That's the plan. That is the agenda. That's how this is all set up. And that is the goal. And so it'll be a sad day when Louisville is running Kentucky. Luckily we have Lexington, but they're borderline commies in a lot of ways too. It's just a lot more conservative. You know, one of my viewers just said we need a rally point for when things go south. Absolutely. Yeah. Here's the thing. Joshua, one of the things, I did a video on this recently. Jack said he hears Benjamin. He's being a little bit fussy right now. He's been talking and having a good time until now, but now he's being a little fussy. You just got a diaper change. That boy does not like it when we do anything to him. Got to suck boogers out of his nose. Got to put his clothes on, take his clothes off, change the diaper. He don't like it. But
sometimes he cooperates.
Here's what you need to do. If you're single, marry a good woman. And if you, Benjamin is upset with communists and liberals. If you're single, you need to marry a good woman. If you've already married a good woman, you need to make sure your children know about this stuff, because good patriots allow the state to raise their children because they believe that's what we need to do, and it is not passed on. We are not, so many good people that I know either have not or were not able to pass the torch on. And the next generation does not give a crap. When I moved to Kentucky and started going to college, I thought, man, I'm going to go to school with a bunch more conservative-minded people. Same thing with high school in Texas. I moved to Texas, thought, man, I'm going to be in high school with a bunch more conservative-minded people. Nope. Nothing different than Washington. Exactly the same. Because we've been fighting inch by inch as we lose our gun rights and trying to fight it the whole way, but we gave up what is mightier than the sword long ago with the pen, and we've accepted a society where it's easy and you to buy nice things by having you and your spouse work full time and not raising your kids. And you are letting the enemy, which is the federal government, raise your children. You can't pass the torch on to them that way. Not if you're allowing them to do the raising. Now, I was raised about halfway in public schools, more than halfway, probably 3/4 in public schools. I did 1 year of homeschool and 3 or 4 years of private school. Overall, everything else was public. And my dad was deployed a lot, so it's not like he was always there making sure things were straight on. But you can give your children a strong scriptural moral foundation and avoid the brainwash. They're going to have a harder time in public schools because of it, because they're not going to want to deal with all the sheeple. But it's only getting worse and worse, and it's only getting harder and harder to do as we get deeper into government monopoly. And so as time goes on and things get worse, people are going to have to try harder to spend more time with their children to ensure that their children are raised right. And it's going to be harder and harder to be able to afford to do that. And people are going to have to take cuts in how they live their life when it comes to their house, their car, and everything else. And that's what's going to have to be done. And if people aren't willing to do that, they're going to be giving up their true liberty teeth, which is their children. So another subscriber said, it's a big country. We need a lot of rally points. It's true. But here's the thing. Scripturally, it talks about the tribulation and trials and struggles coming up. It talks about brother will turn against brother and father against son, etc. And whether we talk about tribulation or not, as time goes on, we will come closer and closer to that point in time. If you're going to set up rally points, set them up with people that you honestly and truly trust. And do it through the mail. Because when your rally point becomes something that is valuable to the government, even Jesus's group had a Judas. And I believe that there is an old saying that if you have 3 people together, one of them will sell the other 2 out, as a rule. We're getting to that point, and that's something that people really need to consider. And so often when I talk about these things, people say, well, then what are we going to do? Basically, you're telling us that everything is screwed, everything sucks, and it's only going to get worse, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So what do we do? raise godly families, buy a bunch of guns, get training so you can teach your family how to shoot, try to learn everything that you can about survival, and be prepared to say goodbye to society. The most dangerous citizens are the ones that are ungovernable, and you can only be ungovernable if you can be as close as possible to self-sufficient. And and I'm not talking about the fantasy of self-sufficiency, because you need some kind of support. You need larger groups of people. Even people talk about all of their primitive skills, all of the incredible things that primitive communities did. Well, guess what? They were communities. They weren't individuals, because even then they needed groups of people. But you can prepare now and be as self-sufficient as possible and have a plan to get the crap out of Dodge. I want to go to Attu Island. The wife doesn't like it. That's where I want to go. In fact, I would like to find a way through YouTube or crowdfunding or something to take a plane to 2 islands before Attu, which is the furthest that you can fly out, and do a survival series out there. These are the Aleutian Chains off of Alaska going out towards Russia. Man, there ain't a lot of freedom out there anymore. So if you want it, you got to make it. Yeah. Let's talk to Benjamin here. Hey, Chunky. All right.
Just watch your cord there.
Yeah. Who's that? Who's that right there, Ben? Is that a chunker? Yeah. Yeah, is that a chunky chunk? Oh my. He's so chunky. He's just got his top teeth coming down. So he's got 4 chompers now. He's got so many chompers. And he loves electrical cords. So he is in the danger zone because there is so much distractions going on. Oh my. Is he wild? Your wifey. So Benjamin is just doing great. Not yet. Yeah, he needs some venison to chew on. Hopefully we're going to rectify that soon. One of the things that I'm working on, they are amazing. One of the things I'm working on is I've got a new deer feeder and game camera and corn cobs and mineral blocks out in one part of my property. In the other part of the property, I have like 400 pears on the ground. I'm going to load them all up into a wheelbarrow, take them out to the other side of the property and put old pears and another salt block out there. And I might need to find a way to get another game camera for that area. And my dad's coming down, and hopefully we are going to put some deer into the dirt shortly. So, yeah, you know, being self-sufficient, we're still reliant on electricity to keep things cool and everything else. But you know, if we can, and this is, if we can buy as little as possible, we'll be better off. Especially when you consider, if you are on this channel a lot or see my content a lot, when a company shows that they support slavery, you know, when they oppose individual liberty and freedom, don't give them your money, because you are directly condoning their actions and you are directly funding tyranny. So Josh asked if my dad liked the Skinner. Actually, I haven't sent it to him yet. I've got to find the dang bead that I got for him, and I'm going to make him a lanyard and send it out to him. It's been a long time. The last huntsman asked if I bow hunt or just with a rifle. Just rifle. I wish I bow hunted, but I can't get myself excited about it. Like, I'm like, I should bow hunt. That would be really smart of me to do. And then I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to spend that money on a bow and arrows, even though in the long term, yeah, it's so much fun watching kids learn. In the long term, it's not that much money, especially if you get some deer with it. But that could go to ammo. It's hard for me, man. It's a hard deal. Let's see. Yeah, bows and arrows are cheaper in the long run, but they're not going to do anything against communists. Joshua, this is a great thing that we should talk about sometime, maybe in a podcast video or something. The difference between a hunter and a hunter's camo and combat camo. We see these pictures of people wearing realtree up in a tree stand with a bow like this, and they're basically, have you seen Rambo? Exactly. They're basically completely invisible. But they just picked a camouflage that works really well for their environment. They don't necessarily understand lighting, cover, concealment. They're not hiding a gun, and they got to pick their position. Said, you can't suppress the enemy with a stick and a string. And we have a lot of fantasy stuff going on with resistance and rebellion. But if you are close enough to hit an enemy combatant with a bow and arrow, you will die in the engagement. Maybe you'll get one of them. Maybe you'll kill somebody, but you're going to die. You are within hand grenade. Your life is about to be jacked up range, and you're going to die. Because any type of rebellion or resistance is going to put you in the unlikely scenario where you're fighting against a logically or logistically and technologically superior enemy. So, yeah. By the way, The Last Huntsman's commenting on here. Definitely check out his YouTube channel and his Instagram. Gabe from The Last Huntsman is a patriot. He is a straight up dude, and he's a thinker. And finding people who think nowadays is very difficult. They are few and far between. We have lots of warriors and few thinkers. So when you find somebody like that, follow them, talk to them, pick their brains. So give The Last Huntsman a view. Let's see. Yeah, Rick mentioned that for him hunting they have to wear blaze orange, so camo's not much of a concern. Jack asked, "How's your knife working out?" I'm not sure if you're asking about my adventure craft, but I assume you are. The adventure crafts are supposed to come out of the laser engraving place early Monday. Then they'll go straight out to Grizzly Outdoors Kydex. And man, I hope that he can get this batch done quick. We've done pre-orders. Pre-orders are stressful for me. The jackalope. Okay. So the jackalope cost for me is 50% higher right now than the adventure craft. It has the most wonderful shaped handle. But I think I'm going to calm down on the handle contouring on it because I can't have it being 50% more expensive. And I think that Mineral Mountain Hatchet Works, the manufacturer, is going to be able to make jackalopes faster, Lord willing. Because it's a little bit larger. The adventure crafts are so small that they're tedious to make and they're easy to screw up. And that's expensive. So I want my main blade that sells the most and is priced the most competitive to be something that they can make really quickly. So if demand skyrockets, I can order as much as needed. The Last Huntsman said, by the way, I have had a sighting of a jackalope. I thought it was a myth until recently. Was that a taxidermist sighting? I will tell you, I'm going to find sheds on my property. I'm going to shoot a rabbit and I'm going to make a jackalope. I wouldn't mind if I had thought about it having made my channel logo a jackalope. It's such a cool thing. Joshua, I don't know what you're talking about trading, but if you want to trade something, I would be happy to trade. No doubt about it. Okay, I want to do a short machete, and I don't think it's going to happen. So what we're going to look at is a 8 to 9 inch blade at 3/16 inch thickness. Coming up next, a Bowie with a choil. And Mineral Mountain Hatchet Works can make it indestructible. We're going to do the Adventure Craft, the Jackalope, and then a Bowie. Let me know what you guys think that should be named. I would like to name it... oh, dude, yeah. B4 for a jackalope every day. We'll do it. Just let me know, and I will make it happen. As soon as the jackalopes come out, you'll get one if you want to do that trade. Joshua, again, Wolf is commenting on here. Red Beard Blades, incredible work. Incredible dude. So check out Red Beard Blades on Instagram and Facebook as well, I believe. Jack said they have a jackalope knife. Yeah, actually, I believe, yes, that The Last Huntsman does have a jackalope knife. It's a little bit different, but we're going to get his opinion on it hopefully soon, and maybe he'll give me some ideas on what I can improve or what if there are things wrong with it. I'm excited to hear his thoughts on that. Okay, so for my viewers here today, that makes sense. The Last Huntsman. I'm a little slow. Okay. 8 to 9 inch bladed Bowie, multi-position handle, or single position handle with a decent choil, and it will be in the Adventure series, so thin edge. It probably won't end up being a machete, but what kind of scales? There'll be micarta. I think my standard is really going to become all natural or black micarta and maybe normal green micarta. I think I'm going to calm down on the 2-color handle scales, and I think I'm going to calm down on the burlap micarta until later. Right now, I just want to get knives out as affordably as possible. If you guys think of any names, though, for a 9-inch camp knife to be the next knife up from the jackalope, let me know. Also, I might also plan a trip to Iceland, and they can only have a 4.6 inch blade. So for my combat series that's coming up, I might make a single handle with a good pinky rest to choke back with a choil for the win. The Patriot Bowie. I like the Patriot Bowie, but I'm going to have the Gunfighter as the top. Well, that's going to be in the fighting knife category. So the top of the Adventure Craft series is going to be the Super Kook. So how am I going to tie names in with the Super Kook, the Jackalope, and the Adventure Craft? I don't know. Single handle for the win. Single handle for the win. My inspiration, I'm not ashamed to say I'm inspired by other knife designs. Some people will try to make me ashamed, but I'm not. My inspiration will be both the BK9 and the Hunglis 2. But I want a clip point or a swedge with a traditional look to it, and I want to have a choil. And so in every design that I make, I want it to be better than the production knives in which the category that are similar in category to it. So I'm going to call it a night, guys. Unless anybody else has something that they want to bring up, we'll certainly talk about it if there's anything that is on your guys' minds. Also, if you ever want to discuss something or want to see a video, let me know through my email, thepreppersbunkeroutdoors@gmail.com, or through my Facebook page, Jacob Beach Peterson, public figure page, or my Instagram, The Preppers Bunker Outdoors, or however else you want to get a hold of me. And I'm always open to discuss basically anything with you guys. Also, I might have a big change coming up. Patreon is 9mm better than 45 anarchy. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Patreon is making a bunch of rules that are anti-gun for their patrons, and they're going to control who can say what or do what. I might be getting rid of Patreon. So for my patrons specifically, that's certainly going to be something that I will talk to you guys about. And I do not expect everybody to follow me from Patreon up to a better platform. I understand I'm going to lose some people. That's okay. But, and I won't judge anybody for that, but we're going to try and get that squared away. So good night, everybody. Thank you all for watching. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves and has a blessed evening. Chupacabra. Yes. Yes, that's it. Chupacabra. All right. Good night, guys.